Welcome to Mind Body Monday, and thank you all for joining me. In today's session, you're going to learn about the functional medicine approaches to ending constipation. And the specifics we're going to look at. We're going to look at two unexpected causes of constipation. You're going to understand the difference between functional medicine approaches and conventional medicine approaches to this particular topic. And I'm going to share with you my 5 best exercises to end constipation. I'm going to share with you my 3 top supplements to help with healthy bowels. And then one surprising way that you can enjoy to help move things forward as well. And I'm going to save that all the way to the end. And there'll be live Q&A. So just remember, if you're watching the replay, I invite you just to post your comments. That way you're able to contribute and build the community as well. Let's get started. By way of humor, someone told me he overheard a 70-year-old man who had been suffering from constipation most of his life. He overheard him saying to a friend, I reached out to the constipation hotline, and after hours of trying to get through, finally the operator picked up the phone and said, "Please hold, sir." And anyway, he put the phone down. But yeah, he had holding on most of his life, and he just heard it again. So humor aside, let's just really jump in, because this is a real issue. I've most of my life been struggling from sluggish bowels until I came across particular approaches that I'm using in my practice. And we are blessed also with a special needs child who's had major digestive issues. So I'm constantly researching this topic to not only help myself, help my patients, and help her. And with tremendous grace, we've been helped and helped my patients as well. So I want to just share some of the highlights of this in today's Mind Body Monday. So the research is quite staggering that over 65 million people in the States suffer from constipation, and 1/3 of the population over 70 suffers from constipation. And close to 1 million emergency hospital visits are a result of constipated related issues. So I know this is a bit of a sensitive topic. And in fact, a lot of people are held back from seeing or reaching out to a professional, their doctor or healthcare provider, because they actually feel ashamed, embarrassed, uncomfortable, awkward, some of those or all of the above. And the truth is, we all suffer from some form of sluggish bowel constipation at some point in our life, be it from stress or traveling or many, many different reasons. So what I'd like to share with you is firstly to normalize this, but not to normalize it and think that constipation is like an okay problem. It's actually not an okay problem. I'm going to share with you some of the complications if left untreated. I'm just curious if you wouldn't mind just typing in the chat. That being said, that it's a sensitive topic, let me know what digestive struggle that you are, or digestive issue you're struggling with. Just type that in the chat. You can send me a PM, a private message if you prefer, or share it in the general chat. That's fine. Or if you've suffered from constipation and what has helped you. I'm always wanting to learn from our patients. In fact, I learn most from our patients. So let me know if you suffer from constipation or any sort of digestive issue, and also tell me what you have found helpful. So go ahead, do that. And then I'm going to just take a look at the chat. Super. Okay, so continue to type in the chat, because I'm going to look at that shortly and I'm going to respond as well. If you suffer from any digestive issue, constipation in particular, and what has helped you. Now, in my practice, regardless of what people come in for, I routinely ask them, just part of a medical intake, is what are their bowel habits like? And one patient, in fact, on more than one occasion, patients would say, "Oh, totally normal." So I'd get a little bit more specific and say, can you clarify what is normal for you? "Oh, once a week to every 10 days. I even had a patient say normal every 3 weeks. So the normal for them is really not a wholesome thing for many reasons. And one of the main reasons is that when we are not moving our bowels on a regular basis, and regular means at least 1, 2, or 3 times a day. If you just think back to a baby, pretty much as many bottles as a baby gets, or as many times a baby's fed, that's the amount of times that they will move their bowels. And that's a wholesome thing. So for a baby, it could be 6 or 8 times a day with feeds. But as we get schooled and go through the educational system, you can only leave class during the bell, when the bell rings, or you don't want to go out in the middle, or whatever the reasons are, but we get schooled to hold things in. And that's by and large an enculturation that gets in the way of a healthy digestive system right from the get-go. So it's really important when you have an invitation from nature, it is really important to answer that. And don't hold back wherever you are as much as convenient. I'll get to hydration in a little bit as well. So we all know that the gut is the second brain, where over 50% of dopamine and over 95% of serotonin is produced right here in our gut. These happy hormones do so much for us. So healthy gut is so important for a healthy brain. And having a regular bowel motions anywhere, as I said, between 1, 2, or 3 full formed, easy to make stools are really, really important. Recently, I saw someone who would spend an hour and a half in the bathroom in the morning, and maybe 40 minutes later on. That's almost 2 hours or 2.5 hours of their life every day in the bathroom. And it's really important that a healthy stool, you should be in and out and do your business within maximum 3 to 5 minutes, unless you're reading or checking your phone or something like that, which may not be the best use of that time, rather than best used to breathe and connect to your body and facilitate this process in the best way. In my course, I go more granular in how to position oneself and how to use that time in the best way to facilitate a complete emptying. So what is constipation? Really, it's when anyone is not making in that frequency at least 1, 2, 3 times a day. Because what happens when we don't do that, then the toxins that should be eliminated, because really the bowels are just an internal sewage system. So just imagine if in a city or a town, the sewage system just got backed up. You can just imagine the disaster and complexity that would result from that. So too, the liver is constantly putting out many, many chemicals into the colon, and that should be flushed out of the body. Food sitting there that will be putrefied, and that will be all those toxic byproducts are going to be reabsorbed back into our bloodstream, and that could really trigger so many health issues, be it immune issues, skin issues, metabolic conditions, autoimmune conditions at the end stage. Also, dementia has been reported to be a part of an auto-intoxication process. And then many complications, aside from hemorrhoids and anal fissures and prolapses and even perforation. So it's an important topic. And that's why I've taken time in Mind Body Monday just to put it on my map, and let's get comfortable with this part of our lives that we can negotiate through in the best possible way, so we can avoid these complications and really be in and out and do our business as best and as quickly as possible in the most complete way. There are many, many causes of constipation. It could be food related, hydration, lack of hydration rather, stress related, emotional, lifestyle, genetic. In previous Mind Body Monday, I spoke about how genetics and, more importantly, epigenetics influence every aspect of our health. So if a person is born with a bowel condition or a sluggish bowel, then there's so much that can be done to help you, because epigenetics teaches that about 60 to 80% of our healthcare is really in our hands. Really 30 to 40% is genetic, which we can't do too much about. There are exceptions to that. However, there's so much we can do with lifestyle choices and some of the strategies I'm going to share with you. So let's look at two unexpected causes of constipation. And I'm just going to invite you once again just to type in the chat, if you could think out of left field, what do you think is an unexpected cause of constipation? Let's look at two of those. So I'm just going to look at the chat for a moment to see who has typed. Yeah, what are the common, put it this way, what are the two unexpected reasons for constipation? What do you think that would be? That's not a hint. I wonder what it could be. Okay. Not drinking enough. Okay, I get that. That's not so unexpected, but that's a good one. It's an important one. So the first one, I think someone got it in the chat, is the overuse of laxatives. That's right. Research has shown that using laxatives inappropriately over the long term will actually weaken peristalsis, that's the movement of the colon, and contribute to the very condition it's aimed to treat. So this rebound or paradoxical effect happens because the colon becomes weak from inappropriate or overuse of laxatives, because really, as life-saving as they can be, they are only designed for the short term. Some of the strategies I'm going to be sharing with you are really more long-term strategies. So that's the first surprising cause of constipation, is the rebound effect from poor use or overuse of laxatives. The second one is really something that happens to me, and I'm sure some of us here as well watching this Mind Body Monday, and that is overeating. Even if you overeat healthy foods, it will contribute to sluggishness, congestion in the bowel, and it will cause things to get blocked up. Just imagine your kitchen sink. It's designed for a certain amount of fluid and stuff to be put down there. But if you just take an entire bucket and you just dump it in there, and it's full of who knows what, there's a good chance of your sink getting blocked up and backing up. The colon is exactly the same. If you eat too much, even healthy food, it will definitely contribute to a sluggish colon, slow down peristalsis, cause constipation, and some other discomforts along the way. So the easiest way to remedy that, if you are on long-term use of laxatives, seek to work with a functional medicine doctor who can guide you to support yourself while you possibly wean yourself off or look for some other strategies. And then wherever possible, as the Rambam teaches, to end the meal at least 3/4 full. So you leave, as my father-in-law, blessed memory, always used to say after a wonderful meal, I've had an elegant sufficiency. He didn't stuff himself, and he just felt very, very comfortable and good to go. And we should at least leave a portion over. If you understand, remember, our stomach is really the size of your fist. So whatever size, if you hold your fist up, just a loose fist, if you hold your fist up, that is the size of our stomach. So it's, yes, it does expand somewhat. But if you look at the plates that we often feed ourselves with, there's like several stomachs, even a bucket or two. So respecting that will help us just have a phenomenal digestive system, a more robust digestive system, and a healthier body as well. Let's move on to looking at a fundamental paradigm difference, the difference between the conventional Western medical model to treatment of any condition, but we're focusing specifically on constipation, and the functional integrated medical model in terms of treating constipation. So maybe I'll illustrate this best by sharing some stories of patients that had seen me recently. So recently I had a 75-year-old man who had been suffering from most of his life from constipation, and the last 30 years, really since he was in his mid-50s, from heartburn as well. I also had two, which is relatively uncommon, but I do see women of this age. They were young. One was 22 years old and one was like 25 years old, who also had constipation. Now, they'd all seen their respective GPs, their doctors, and they'd all given some sort of prescription or over-the-counter medication. It included some form of liquid paraffin or other stool softeners, or just said, drink more or something pretty, light in terms of interventions. And all three of them had limited success. They were uncomfortable. It was impeding their daily activities of functional living and their functionality, their comfort. So they reached out to me. So in contrast, after spending quite some time with each one independently, I understood more about their unique situation and what was at the root cause. Why was the body showing up with the symptom of constipation? What was going on in their lifestyle, in their thinking, in their nervous system, in their diet, whatever parameters are involved, which is pretty much all of them, what goes on that contributes this. So each of these three patients were given a completely different treatment. One, on further diagnosis, had a medium gluten sensitivity, and in conjunction with taking them off gluten for a limited period of time and giving them some supplementation, their constipation cleared up 100%. They were able to go back onto gluten containing foods within moderation, and which I guided them. One of the young ladies had a very emotional, high stress in her life. She was going through a pretty challenging time, and that stress just went straight to her gut. And that's because the gut and the brain are hardwired. We have a nerve called the vagus nerve, which travels from the brain all the way through down the throat, the diaphragm, and innervates the entire digestive system and beyond with nerve food. So whatever you think and feel and experience in your life will be read and picked up immediately in your gut. All your thoughts, all your feelings, all the movies we make in our mind, etc., that may bother us or make us anxious or nervous, the gut feels that straight away. So teaching her some deep breathing strategies and helping her with a background of anxiety, we're able to give her some amazing self-soothing strategies, tweaked her diet a little bit, and she was able to put this really behind her and get a healthy bowel back. And the third one was just a bookworm. She loved reading, loved studying, hated exercise, and her colon was the price, constipation was the price she had to pay for that. So we explored different fun ways to exercise, and one of those ways I'll share with you today. And again, tweaked her diet and some minor lifestyle suggestions, and she was fine after about 2 or 3 months of just integrating these suggestions. So here are 3 patients with the same symptom, but with 3 totally different strategies. And I could not, if I tried copy paste one strategy, the 75-year-old strategy to these young ladies, or any of their strategies that are recommended for them between themselves, or to this 75-year-old man. So this is what functional medicine really is. And I'm going to give you a working definition. Conventional medicine examines each individual symptom and assumes that symptom applies or relates only to that body part where it shows up in. So if there's 10 patients with constipation, all 10 will get the same treatment, whatever laxatives, stool softeners, or suggestions are given, which is, it definitely has a role, but more and more people are becoming disillusioned with this model and turning more to a functional medical model, which pretty much functional medicine is a holistic, integrated model, which is individualized, patient-centered, where we as doctors work with the patients in a cooperative to really work together, to brainstorm together, to figure out the best strategies to support you. Using the best of Western medicine diagnostics and scanning and imaging and laboratory testing and all that. But it's understanding, as I mentioned, shared with you in these 3 case histories, that the approach is very different. It's not like I'm sitting in my ivory tower with all this knowledge and say, okay, here's the answer. It's not like that at all. I learn most from my patients and listening carefully and brainstorming with them, finding a way to enable them and awaken the innate healing that's always available in the body, but just sometimes has a lid over it. What we're looking for is how to take that lid off and invite that healing force to flow through the body again. And it involves a very integrative, holistic lifestyle approach to understand the role of the body, the role of the mind, the role of the emotions, the role of genetics, many different factors. So this is essentially the difference between a strictly conventional model and a much more fluid, functional, integrative, holistic model. Let's move on to looking at my favorites in terms of the 5 best exercises to help support colon function. The first rule really is whatever exercise, so many patients ask me, what's the best form of exercise? And the truth is, the best form of exercise is what you do. That is what you can manage. That's just the best form of exercise. What you can do consistently. There may be laboratory testing and statistics and research, but at the end of the day, it's what exercise you enjoy doing. If you have a friend, if you have a gym or a club, or whatever it happens to be, that's the first rule of thumb, because you're going to consistently do something for the long term when it's something you enjoy. If you're seeing it as a chore, as something you have to do, and it doesn't have the joy in it, so it'll be very quickly forgotten about. So it's so important to find something, or if you have found something, then to make it fun in the various ways to do that. So one of the interventions I recommended to this 25-year-old who was suffering from constipation, and she was the bookworm and very studious and hated exercise. I suggested that she started rebounding, which is really a mini trampoline. And I taught her the health bounce, which is a very safe introductory form of rebounding. And the gentle gravitational force of the rebounder really just helped awaken that peristalsis in her gut. It's an amazing form of detoxification to the lymphatic circulation, because our blood supplies move through our body by being pumped by our heart. But our lymphatic circulation, which moves lymph fluids through our body, which is the body's waste system, has no pump. The only way it moves through your body is through exercise, moving your body, walking, jogging, running, whatever it happens to be. But lymphosizing or rebounding on a mini trampoline is, without doubt, one of the most effective uses of your time to detox the body, help the lymphatic circulation, and get the colon moving, invite that peristalsis back in the colon. So that was one of my favorite forms of exercise. There are many, many other benefits of rebounding, and I will post a training video to you if you're on my email list to share some of those highlights with you. The next is walking. So many people underestimate the power of walking. Just 20 minutes to 25 minutes of daily walking can add, I think it's about 15 years to one's life, and cut hospital visits down and cardiovascular disease down and all sorts of chronic health issues just by simply walking. Walking with breathing also helps the colon and the gut and digestion. And a great time to do it is actually after a meal. You don't have to go for a brisk jog, but research has shown that walking after a meal helps to move things around, settle the gut down, and helps with digestion and peristalsis. My third favorite strategy, exercise really to help with constipation, is deep diaphragmatic breathing. This is breathing where one is not breathing into the chest, but breathing into the belly. One of my patients I guided through, helped her with constipation. She was from her 7th month of pregnancy to pretty much her 9th month. She was very constipated. And one of the strategies I taught her was diaphragmatic breathing. Was easy for her to learn because she had her baby in her belly, and she was able to push her belly out gently as she got that kinesthetic experience of the pressure in her lower abdomen, and the breathing very, very much helped her relax the colon. The breathing also stimulates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the rest and digest part of our autonomic nervous system, which is stimulated by the vagus nerve once again. So breathing is a very powerful process to relax the body, relax the vagus nerve, and get the colon moving. That's deep diaphragmatic breathing, where we breathe into our belly. And then the fourth exercise is yoga. I'm a big fan of yoga stretches. I've been practicing yoga since I was 16 years old. I get to thank my mother for that. And there are gentle, safe yoga stretches to do to help with the colon. Quick Google search, if you're a beginner, will help you. Just type in beginner's yoga for digestion or for constipation. That's another fun way to do it. Obviously, working with a trainer or a healthcare practitioner is the safest way to go forward. So if you're a beginner, you can make sure you do this safely for the long term. And the last surprising exercise for helping constipation is actually, I think, self-massage. Mind Body Monday is all about self-care, is the heart of healthcare. So I'm always inviting my patients to practice self-care, especially busy moms where their needs do not even feature on the totem pole. And one of the ways to practice bringing it up, really elevating it to the top of the totem pole, because most of us have flown, and the instructions in the airplane, the safety instructions is, if there's a loss of cabin pressure, right, to take your oxygen mask first over that infant, because when mommy's healthy and happy, then all the family's also healthy and happy. It's not an act of selfishness. It's an act of selflessness, where one is, where you are taking care of yourself so you can be more available for others as well. So self-massage with gentle clockwise massage movements around the colon. There's a specific way to do this. I teach this on the training. And this way, you're able to manually move things through the gut, be it air pockets, get the peristalsis, that's the movement of the colon, working well. So why don't we just take a quick, deep breath in through your nose. And as you breathe out, just relax your chest, relax your gut. There's a lot of information to digest. And we'll take one deep diaphragmatic breath in. So if you can put your hands on your belly, and as you breathe in, just push your belly out as if you got a balloon inside your abdomen, breathing in. And as you breathe out, suck your stomach and abdomen in, close to your spine. Let's do that once more. Breathing in, pushing your belly out. And breathing out, sucking your belly back in again. Wonderful. That is an introduction to deep diaphragmatic breathing. And a good time to practice this is in bed at night, before you go to sleep, or in the morning, just to relax your body, stimulate your vagus nerve, which helps to relax the parasympathetic nervous system, helps to relax the gut and get the peristalsis moving as well. Let's move on and look at 3 best supplements. Now, the first supplement I actually wasn't going to put on, but just this week I had a patient who has a really, really hard time with doing this knows the right thing to do, just not managing to get it done. So I'm putting it as a supplement, even though it's not, because a supplement is something that you supplementing something that you're already doing. So if you're not already doing it, it shouldn't be a supplement. But if you're not doing it, then let's put it in as a supplement, and then there's a good chance you'll do it. Can you guess what that is? I'll just give you a clue. That's right. I see some of you are nodding your head. Hydration. The colon is a sewage system. That's just the truth. And we each need to hydrate adequately to give it the best chance of just being a happy place. So I'm working with the formula of about 1/2 ounce to 1 ounce per pound of body weight. You do the math, you know how much you weigh. So divide that by 2, and that's pretty much the amount of ounces you should be drinking as a minimum. If you're suffering from constipation, then you want to bring that closer to 1 ounce per pound of body weight of water. And the best time to drink that is up to half an hour, 20 minutes before a meal, or at least an hour or so after your meal. That way you don't dilute the gastric juices and interrupt digestion. So that's really the first supplement, even though it's not, because this patient even had a water bottle. She had a water bottle next to her bed at night. And she said to me, you know, Dr. Avraham, it's as close to my mouth as I could get it. I just can't manage to drink water. I forget. I'm so busy with the kids, family, whole everything. I said, that's fantastic. That's a great start. And working with a principle of 40 and 40 Thrive, where there are 1,440 opportunities in the day to reboot, restart, reset, and just give ourselves the best opportunities to win and succeed. And that is one strategy. Get that water as close to your mouth as possible. It's in your consciousness. It's not a failure. It's a win. And over time, you'll accustom yourself to be more conscious, and putting a ringer in your phone, or putting a 3M sticky note up, if anyone's using 3M still. There are lots of strategies, and this is part of working with patients and figuring out creative ways to help them be successful. So hydration is the first thing. Let's jump to fibers. The world of fiber is a very big world. I gave a deeper dive in one of my inner circle trainings on various forms of fiber, the good ones, the bad ones, the not so good ones, the mistakes people can make, but essentially keeping it simple. What I practice in my life, and what I recommend my patients do, is either buy or make your own fiber mix. And I take a combination of flax seeds, chia seeds, and hemp seeds. I grind them up in equal parts and put them in a Tupperware in my freezer. And each day I put 1 or 2 tablespoons inside my soup or my salad or my smoothie, or just mix them into water, let it sit for about 10 minutes, and then drink that down. And that is fantastic, is a fantastic form of prebiotics and prebiotic fibers, which help be a substrate for the probiotics to live off and thrive off. And they're wonderful forms of both soluble and insoluble fiber. And for those people who can't manage to do that, and I really get it, people are really busy, and even doing that is a challenge, then I recommend some of my patients, I've told them to recommend them to get a product called Bene Fiber, BENE-FIBRE. I'm not getting any kickback from recommending this product. I've just found it to be helpful for my patients. That pregnant woman I was speaking about earlier, that was one of the things I gave her. That's simply because Bene Fiber is an example of soluble fiber. It's pretty much got no taste, dissolves completely in water. And one of my patients recently told me that she actually put her dose in her water bottle and drank it through the day, and also got tremendous benefit rather than just having it in one go. So that's another strategy that you can try doing. Just warning though, for people who are gluten sensitive or celiac, should perhaps not use Bene Fiber. It is a wheat derivative. There is very small parts of wheat, dextrin, gluten inside of that. So it's best to work with somebody who can counsel you best, a functional medicine doctor, to advise which is the best form of soluble and insoluble fibers. Okay, we're moving towards the end as I'm going to share with you the last supplement. And this is not a fiber supplement. We spoke about hydration. I spoke about different forms of fiber and my favorite fiber combo. And now we're going to be looking at a supplement, which is magnesium. There are many, many forms of magnesium. I don't know if it's over 12 or 15 different forms. And one particular form has an affinity to the colon, and that's called magnesium oxide. That's OXIDE. And there are other forms of magnesium as well. I'm not going to go down magnesium street. I've done that in previous Mind Body Mondays. But magnesium oxide helps with peristalsis. And this is one of the things I used for my patient who was addicted to laxatives. And we're able to bring his laxative dose down by bringing up this, by raising his magnesium oxide levels and just finding a very delicate balance with his system as we strengthened his colon over time as well. And he did very, very well. So those are the 3 best supplements for helping digestion. And by the way, you don't need to be constipated to enjoy these benefits. These have tremendous health benefits. The fibers, for example, researchers showed that some fiber products were successful in lowering cholesterol levels and helping with glucose regulation in type 2 diabetes. So there's a whole world of benefit to different fibers. And when I'm working with patients, I'm looking for what I call leveraged interventions. These are interventions where 1 or 2 things can affect positively many systems in their body. So that saves them from taking many supplements. But if they're coming to me with diabetes, type 2 diabetes and constipation and sluggish bowel or heartburn, I may be looking at the right sort of fiber that will help their constipation, not irritate the heartburn, because some fibers can do that, and then also will help lower their blood glucose levels. So this is all why working with someone is really, really important to guide you in this more functional, integrated, holistic approach to healthcare. So let's all just take one deep diaphragmatic breath in. So put your hands on your belly. And after this, we're going to end. Put your hand on your belly. Take a nice deep breath in. Push your belly out towards the horizon in front of you. And as you breathe out, suck your belly into your spine. And once again, pushing the belly out and sucking the belly in. Wonderful. Now, I did promise you, well done. So now you all are certified belly breathers. I promised you that I'm going to end with one surprising and effective way to help end constipation. And we're ending on this one. You'll see why shortly. Now, I'm just wondering how many of you can guess, just type in the chat, what one surprising and effective way we haven't discussed yet can help with good bowels. Go ahead, type that in the chat. And if you're watching the replay, I'm really interested to hear what your suggestion is. Go ahead, type in the chat. Okay, so no, nobody has got it yet. So I'm going to introduce for that a special prop. So I'm going to invite you just to look up at the screen, because what I have here is a special hand warmer for this winter. Now, this is a drop graphic, but this is just a fun way. And, one of my kids is playing it and using it as a hat. And this is a wonderful way to end bowel congestion, constipation, all sorts of stuff. And what is that? That is humor, laughter, and fun. Researchers showed that deep belly laughter is a wonderful way to end constipation. It really stimulates peristalsis. It elevates the mood and gets us up and out of our stuck state of mind, which very often translates to ending stuckness anywhere else in the body, namely the abdomen and the colon. So research through functional MRI has actually demonstrated that the brain does not make a distinction between real and imaginary. So even if you're not in a happy mood, or you're just not up to a good laugh, fake it, because your brain won't know the difference. You can just sort of, take one of these hand warmers and go around to your kids and your family and friends and neighbors, and just make appropriate fun so that you yourself can cheer others up, or at least cheer yourself up in the process. So laughter, belly laughter, any sort of laughter is a wonderful way to get the colon moving. So I invite you all in your own time tonight, tomorrow, as your weekly challenge, to do the deep belly breathing, the deep diaphragmatic breathing, and to chuckle away as you breathe out. Like you breathe in. Let's do that together quickly. You can have your sound off if you want. Put your hands on your belly, push your belly out to the horizon as you breathe in. And as you're breathing out, chuckle. And I see some of you are laughing away because this is really ridiculous. Let's do that once more. Hands on the belly. Breathing in, belly out to the horizon. And breathing out. Okay, and for some of you who really want to just like go crazy, you can do that. This is the out of the box evening. Some of my patients, they start these conversations with feeling so embarrassed and so uncomfortable. At the end of the day, listen, we're all human, we're all struggling, we're all having a hard time. And the best way to just banish all of this is just to have a good laugh at our humanity, laugh compassionately at ourselves, with ourselves. And that way we'll be able to move through life and move through whatever challenges life throws at us in a buoyant way. And through that, just be a joy to be around in our own skin, number one, and for others as well. So thanks once again to all of you for showing up on Mind Body Monday. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Just remember that Mind Body Monday is where self-care is the heart of healthcare. All you need to do is take one small step in the direction of health and healing in mind, body, and soul. I'll see you next week.